What's up YouTube, and welcome to Speed YGO. Today I'm coming at you with a brand new deck profile for the current competitive format, and today we'll be going over a personal favorite of mine, Blackwings. You may know Blackwings is one of the most dominant decks of its time, even going as far as winning the 2009 World Championship. Since then, the deck has kind of been power crept a bit, and has struggled really to find its footing in the rogue category for the better part of the past decade. The deck is known for its ability to spam monsters on the field for absolutely no cost, and the deck's game plan hasn't really changed much. We're still barfing monsters on the field at will, but with a lot of the indirect support given in the past year, we can finally start putting those monsters to good use. I'll show you what I mean in just a second with the deck profile, followed by a few sample combos at the end, just to show how powerful I think the deck can be, including an absolutely insane one-card combo that leads to a pretty impressive board on its own. So without further ado, let's get right into the profile. Starting off the main deck here, we're playing 3 copies of Blackwing, Simoon, the Poison Wind. This card is just absolutely insane for the deck. If you don't know what this card does, if you control no monsters, you can banish another Blackwing from your hand, then activate a Black Whirlwind straight from your deck, then immediately normal summon this card without tributing. The amount of advantage this card just provides on its own is absolutely ridiculous. I'll be showcasing a 1-card combo with this at the end of the video, just that shows just how insane this card is. It does lock you in the darks from the extra deck for the turn, but trust me, that's not an issue, just given how much advantage this card provides. Next up, we're playing 2 copies of Auster the South Wind, probably the best normal summon in the deck. On summon, this card revives one of your banished Blackwings, so it pairs really good with the Simoon, just being able to revive the Blackwing that you just banished off Simoon's effect. It's a key combo piece, and it's a really nice level 4 tuner that gets you access to a lot of the really good cards in your extra deck. Next up, we got a couple cards that more OG players of the deck might recognize. We have 3 copies of Gale the Whirlwind, as well as 3 copies of Bora the Spear. These are the cards that really gave the deck its name back in the day. These cards have very simple effects that read: if you control a Blackwing monster that is not themselves, you could special summon them from your hand for absolutely free, absolutely no cost. These cards are just so good in the resource scheme. Having multiples of these cards in your hand is very nice because these are not once per turn of their special summons. You can spam as many of these as you want from your hand throughout a turn, as many times as you want, and they also have pretty key uses on their own, other than just being able to be special summoned. Gale's a nice level 3 tuner that gets you access to your synchros, and then Bora's a really good level 4 that gets you access to your exceed pools. Next up, we're playing what I call the second generation of Blackwings. We have 2 Chris the Crack of Dawn, as well as 2 Harmat in the Dust, and 1 Orochi the Squall. These cards are known as the second generation of Blackwings because they're very similar in a sense to Gale and Bora, in the fact that they can be special summoned as long as you control a Blackwing that is not them the same way. However, these are all hard once returns on their special summons, so you cannot be spamming these out as many times during the turn as you would with either your Gale or Bora. But that's perfectly fine because they all have their individual uses as well. Chris is another level 4 that gets you access to your rank 4s, as well as being a 1900 body, which is actually very relevant in the deck because it is the biggest body on any Blackwing. So normal summoning Chris with a Black Whirlwind on the field will literally search your entire monster pool, which is very nice. Harmat is a small one. He's a level 2 non-tuner, but that is okay because he is a level modulator. His effect reads that when you normal special summon him, you could target another Blackwing on your field and increase Harmattan's level by that target's level. So say you have a Chris on the field, you could special out your Harmattan, target the Chris with Harmattan's effect, and then your Harmattan will become level 6. This is just nice for accessing your synchros and other good cards in your extra deck. And then Oroshi's just a level 1 tuner. He's also the smallest body in the main deck, meaning that any Blackwing can search him off of Black Whirlwind. And it's just a nice level 1 tuner for your synchro plays. Running out the Blackwings in the main deck, we have the 1 copy of Zephyros the Elite. Just like Simoon, this card provides so much advantage for the deck. Probably one of the more well-known Blackwings in the game, being splashed around in a bunch of decks over the past few formats. I like to say, Simoon is the play starter for the deck. Zephyros is really the card that keeps your plays going. This card is an absolutely essential piece to every single combo you go through, and it's such a good card for the deck. Next up, we play 3 copies of Luna the Dark Spirit. I cannot tell you enough how much I love this card. I absolutely love this card. I basically say this is basically a Blackwing in everything but the name. If you don't know what this card does, it reads that you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing one dark monster from your graveyard. Non-once per turn, just like your Bora and your Gale. Just having these in multiples in your hand is amazing. This card, it's able to be spammed on the board just like any other Blackwing for absolutely free because your entire main deck is dark essentially. It's a level 4, good for your Exceed plays, and it's just I absolutely love this card. Next up, we play a couple bricks. We do play the Phantom Knight engine. We have the 1 Cloak, the 1 Boots, the 1 Fogblade, and the 1 Shade Brigandine. I see a lot of builds typically going for the 2nd Fogblade over the Shade Brigandine, which is perfectly fine. You're obviously allowed to do that, but I find that playing the 1 Shade synergizes with a card in the extra deck that I'll showcase later. That I think provides a little bit better of an effect than having just the 2nd Fogblade. Next up, we have the Dragoon package, because of course we're playing Dragoon. This is the best art of Dark Magician. Don't tell me otherwise. Next up, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Generic staple in the current format. You got to play your hand traps because you're not going to win every die roll. I actually saw a cool graph on Twitter the other day that said that Ash recently became the 2nd most played card in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is actually insane when you think about it, because this card really hasn't been out that long, and the game's been going on for over 20 years, so really cool card. Running out the monsters, we have 3 copies of Effect Veiler. This spot in the deck is actually very, very interchangeable. Ever since Called by the Grave went to 1 in the past ban list, a lot of people have been trying to find kind of a substitute in your combo decks. I see a lot of people playing 3 copies of Triple Tactics Talent over the Called by the Grave to try and substitute and play through hand traps a little better. Again, while that's perfectly fine, I find it a little more advantageous just to play the extra hand traps in the main deck. For the simple reason that, while Triple Tactics Talent can really only be used reactively, you could use the Veiler or any other hand trap, really, both proactively and reactively. You're not going to win the die roll every single time you play the game, so you're going to want to be able to stop your opponent's plays, when they're going first. Having a Triple Tactics Talent in your opening hand isn't really going to do that for you. So having the Effect Veiler is nice as well. On your turn, if you do end up getting hand trapped, and you can't play through it as well, you might finish on a board that's missing an interruption or two. Effect Failure or whatever hand trap, kind of substitute as that extra interruption in your hand that you're missing on your board, which is nice. Realistically, these should be 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, but I did not have any imperms on me when I made this list, so right now we're playing Effect Failure. Next up with the spells, we're playing 3 copies of Black Whirlwind, the namesake of the deck, essentially. This card is just ridiculous. If you don't know what this card does by now, when you normal summon a Blackwing monster while this card is on your field, you can search a Blackwing monster from your deck with less attack than that card. Not once per turn, not once per copy. This card searches literally your entire deck for free. It's such a good card with the resource game. I've been playing this deck for a while. There's been multiple times where I've had all 3 on the field, and I've been able to search, 9 times in one turn. This card is just absolutely insane. Next up, we play triple Allure of Darkness. Obviously, every monster in your main deck, other than the hand traps, really are darks. This includes, the Phantom Knight stuff as well as the Dragoon engine. Worst comes to worst, if you have a hand that's very bricky, but you draw the Allure, you'll more times than not have a dark target. Finally, we play 1 copy of Rank Up Magic Soul Shave Force. This is the Raid Raptor rank up that we search off of our Y Strix and allows us to access our rank 6 exceeds. That's going to do it for the main deck. 40 card main deck. In more recent builds of this deck, I've bounced around from anywhere between 40 and 50 cards. But with the most recent ban list and Rusty Bargies coming off, Smoon just became that much more powerful in the deck. So you want to see that card as much as possible, so I found that 40 cards is probably the best version of the deck right now. Alright, so moving on to the extra deck, We play 2 copies of Raid Raptor Y-Strix. This card is just, I cannot say enough how good this card is as well. You know, if I were to make this deck profile a year ago today, this card would instead be 2 copies of Wee Witch Apprentice. And Wee Witch doesn't really do anything, and this card absolutely does. This card is just an essential piece to your combos. It provides so much advantage being able to get the Zephyros from deck as well as the rank up from deck. It's just such a great card. Next up, we have 1 copy of one of the best cards ever printed, the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. This card is just, it's ridiculous. Like, if you don't know what Rusty does by now, yeah, I'm sorry, you'll find out soon enough, because this card is just absolutely insane, being able to just provide so much advantage off of 1 copy of itself. Next up, we play 1 copy of IP Masquerena, as well as the 1 copy of Appaloosa to go with it. IP is just another nice dark link monster to go into for boards that use Simoon. And then Appaloosa, you know, is a very, very good card to go into it with, to use IP's effect for. Realistically, you know, this could be any other extra deck card. You know, it could be a Unicorn, it could be your Avermax, whatever you want. But I felt Appaloosa was a good choice for this. Next up, we have our Dragoon package, the 1 Verite and the 1 Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. I actually don't own a Dragoon myself, so right now the Red Eyes Slash Dragon is going to be proxying for us for this profile. Next up, our Exceeds, we have the 1 copy of Raid Raptor 4-Strix, as well as the 1 copy of Time Thief Redoer. Starting with 4-Strix, 4-Strix is just, you know, same thing with Y-Strix. In tandem with Y-Strix, this card provides so much advantage, being able to search and then getting the rank up from the deck. It's just an absolutely insane card for the deck. And then Redoer is actually the rank 4 that I was talking about earlier with the Phantom Knight stuff. You know, being able to, you know, overlay your Shade Brigandine with another level 4 and go into your Redoer. Gives Redoer the effect that it gets a non-targeting spin of any cards your opponent controls to the top of their deck. And that, I find that absolutely insane. This card deals with Dragoons. Non-targeting, non-destruction removal is just one of the best removals in the game, obviously, and I think this card is very, very good for the deck. Next up, our rank 6s, we have the 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity, as well as the 1 Dragulus Vampiric Dragon. CDI is used for boards that don't use Simoon, and Dragulus is for the ones that are locked into darks because we use Simoon. CDI is just, you know, another negate, another interruption to have, and then Dragulus is actually a very, very underrated card in my opinion. If you don't know what this card does, is that once returned during either player's turn, it's basically a Book of Moon for only monsters summoned from the extra deck. But that's actually only half its effect. The second effect is much less known. If this card is destroyed or banished by any card your opponent controls, you can actually resummon this card in face-down defense position, and then when it's flipped up, you can non-targeting send any card your opponent controls to the graveyard. So just like Redoer, this card is just, it's non-targeting, non-destruction removal, you know, for, you know, whatever your opponent puts up to deal with. You know, this card also gets rid of Dragoon with its second effect, and it's just a very, very underrated card in my opinion. Next up, we have the Synchros. We have the 1 copy of Borreload Savage Dragon, you know, your generic level 8 Synchro. Just another interruption. Very easy to go in with cards like Auster. It's just a very, very good card to have. And rounding out the extra deck, we have 3 Blackwing Synchros. We have the 1 Full Armor Master, the 1 Raikiri the Rain Shower, and the 1 Obsidian Hawkjoe. Only 3 Blackwing Synchros, which I know some players might not be too fond of, but we are playing the best ones. You know, Raikiri is still a very, very good card, being able to pop opponents' boards, very good going second, very good board breaker. Joe's very, very good in the grind game after you've used your other Synchros, being able to revive them from the graveyard. It's just a very, very good card to have. And then Full Armor Master, what more can you say about this card? You know, this card takes so much of your opponent's resources to get rid of. People fear when this card hits the board. You know, it's not an easy card to get rid of, and it's a very, very good card to have on your side of the field. Alright, so the first combo I'm going to be showcasing for you guys requires 1 Simoon and then any other Blackwing that can be special summoned. This is the 1 card combo I've been talking about, you know, 1.5 card combo technically, because it does require the other Blackwing, but as long as this Blackwing isn't either Auster or Simoon, because those 2 monsters can't be summoned off of Simoon's, or Auster's effect, I should say, this card doesn't really matter. You know, Simoon's going to be doing all the heavy lifting for us. So all you need is just a Simoon and another Blackwing that can be special summoned. So to start off our combo, we're going to activate Simoon's effect in hand, banishing our Gale, and then activating our Black Whirlwind directly from deck. Next up, we can normal summon our Simoon because of its effect, and then trigger our Black Whirlwind to search our Oster. Next up, we'll normal summon our Oster, and then as Chainlink 1, we'll activate Oster's effect, targeting our Gale, and then as Chainlink 2, we'll activate our Black Whirlwind, which is going to resolve and search our Harmattan. Next up, we'll link off our Gale and our Simoon for a copy of Y-Strix. On summon, Y-Strix's effect is going to activate and fetch our Zephyros from deck. Next up, we'll overlay our 2 level 4s for a copy of Raid Raptor Forstrix. From here, we'll activate Forstrix's effect, detaching material, and searching our Bora. And then on resolution, our Y-Strix's effect is going to activate and get our Rank Up Magic Soul Shave Force directly from deck. The level 4 that you search off of Forstrix can either be, you know, this card doesn't really matter too much. Because it will be staying in your hand for the rest of the turn. This card won't actually be used as the combo. So, you know, you can search out your Chris with this, or you can search out your Oster for next turn. It doesn't really matter. Next up, we're going to link off our 2 Raid Raptors for a copy of Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardiche. We're going to activate Rusty's effect. We're going to ditch our Cloak. And we're going to set our Shade Brigandine directly from deck. So we will banish our Cloak and get our Boots directly from deck. This next part of the combo can be done in a few different orders, but for this sake, first off, we're going to activate our Zephyros in Graveyard to special summon itself by bouncing our Black Whirlwind. Next up, we'll just special out our Boots because we control a Phantom Knights monster. Then we will activate our Shade Brigandine, special summoning itself as a level 4. And then lastly, we'll take our Harmattan and special summon it because we control another Blackwing. From here, we will overlay our 2 level 4s for a copy of Time Thief Redoer. Next up, we'll link off our 2 remaining monsters for a copy of Verte Anaconda. Here you can, you could either go into your Verte Anaconda or you can go into a copy of IP Masquerader as well. Some people might prefer to go the IP because, with Verte and the Soul Shave Force, you will be using a lot of life points, paying half to use the Soul Shave Force, and then an extra 2,000 on top of that to use the Verte. So some people might not like the appeal of using so many life points in the first turn. So in that case, you can go into your IP for your link plays on the following turn. Just be aware that Rusty Bardiche cannot be used as a link material if you go that route. Next up, we'll banish our Boots from grave to get our Fogblade from deck. And then we'll activate our Soul Shave Force, getting our Forstrix from graveyard, and then overlaying it for a copy of Dragulus. Lastly, we'll activate our Verte Anaconda's effect, ditching our Fusion, ditching our Red Eyes, and ditching our Dark Magician for a copy of Dragoon. Remember that our Slash Dragon is going to be proxying for Dragoon in this video. And that's going to be the end of your turn here. So remember, off of 1 copy of Simoon and 1 Blackwing that can be special summoned, you end on a Dragoon with a live negate and 2 pops at the ready. A Time Thief Redoer who is live with a trap attached, giving you a non-targeting spin of any card your opponent controls. A Phantom Knight's Fogblade in the back row, being able to stop opponent's monster effects and attacks. And then a Dragulus with a quick effect, Book of Moon of any card your opponent summons from the extra deck. As well as you have your level 4 searched off of Forstrix, as well as your Black Whirlwind in hand with the 3 other cards that you initially started in your opening hand. Alright, so the next combo I'm going to be showcasing is very similar to the last one, but will end on one more piece of interruption, that making your board just that much stronger. And this combo just requires a Simoon, another Blackwing that can be special summoned, and any level 4 extender. So this can be, we're going to be using Luna for this, the sake of this video, but this could be either a Bora or a Chris or any level 4 extender that you decide to use in the deck. But for this instance, we're going to be using Luna. Alright, so to start off the combo, we're going to start it off the same way. We're going to activate our Simoon from hand, banishing our Gale, and getting our Whirlwind from deck. Then we're going to normal summon our Simoon, activating our Whirlwind, and getting our Auster from deck. Next up, same way as last time, we're going to normal summon our Auster, activating our Auster as Chainlink 1, and activating our Whirlwind as Chainlink 2. Whirlwind's going to resolve, getting our Harmattan, and then Auster is going to resolve, getting our Gale back. From here, same as before, we're going to link off our Gale and our Simoon for a copy of Ystrix. Ystrix is going to activate on summon, getting our Zephyros from deck. From here, we're going to banish our Gale to get our Luna the Dark Spirit. Again, this needs to be any level 4 extender. For this instance, we're going to be using Luna. But again, this could be either your Chris or your Bora. Next up, we're going to take our 2 level 4s here and exceed into our Forstrix. Next up, we'll activate Forstrix's effect, detaching 1, getting our Bora, and then on resolution, our Ystrix will activate again, getting our Soul Shave Force. Note here, the level 4 searched off of Forstrix actually does matter in this instance because we will be using this. I like to use the Bora because Bora is, again, the non-once per turn special summon. So if you've used a Bora in the turn already, you don't have to worry about not being able to use it again, as you would with the Chris. Auster is absolutely not usable when you search it off of the Forstrix because you've already normal summoned for the turn. And then the Chris, if you haven't already used the Chris in the combo, you can search the Chris and use it. But Bora is just the safest bet. So from here, just like last time, we're going to link our 2 Raid Raptors off to a copy of Rusty Bardiche. From here, we're going to take our level 4 that we just searched. We're going to special summon it. And then we're going to synchro summon to a copy of Borreload Savage Dragon. Savage is going to activate, and it's going to attach our Ystrix. Now, Savage will have 2 counters because of Ystrix being a Link 2, and it will have a live Omni Negate at the ready. So from here, your combos are essentially free to go. The same as last time, we're going to activate our Rusty Bardiche effect, ditching our Cloak, and setting our Shade Brigandine. We'll banish our Cloak, get our boots, and from here, the combo is essentially the same as the last one. We will use our Zephyros Engrave, bouncing back our Whirlwind. We'll activate our Shade, special summoning it, special summon our boots, and then special summon our Harmattan. Same as last time, we will exceed into a copy of Redoer, and then we will link into a copy of Verte Anaconda. From here, we'll activate our Soul Shave Force, paying half our life points, special summoning our Forstrix, and then overlaying for Dragulus. From here, we will banish our boots to get our Fogblade from deck. And then finally, we'll activate our Verte Anaconda's effect, ditching our Fusion, and ditching our Vanillas for a copy of Dragoon. And that's going to be your end board here. So as you can see, just from one additional card from the last combo, you're ending on essentially the same board, as well as a Borreload Savage Dragon that has 2 counters, so a Live Negate, both on the turn it's summoned, and then if you use it on the turn you're summoned, you'll have another one to use on your opponent's turn. So plenty of interruptions to go around. This is a very, very strong board. Not to mention you'll have the Black Whirlwind in hand, as well as 2 additional cards that you started off in your opener. Alright, so for the last combo we'll be showcasing today, we'll go over the hands that do not open Simoon. For as absolutely broken as a card that Simoon is, you can only play 3 cards in your deck, unfortunately, so you're not going to be able to see it every game. And a lot of people think that, you know, the deck crumbles when you don't see Simoon, but I'm here to show you that that's not true. The deck can absolutely still function if you do not open Simoon. So for this combo, all we're going to need is any 2 Blackwings and then a level 4 extender. The 2 Blackwings are just going to be used to get to your Y-Strix, so as long as you can get 2 Blackwings on the field, you'll be able to see your Y-Strix. And then the level 4 extender, as I said before, this could either be your Bora, your Luna, or even your Auster. As long as you can get a level 4 on the field to get into your Exceeds, you will be able to get into your combos. So to start off this combo, we're just going to kind of barf of all of our birds on the field. We're going to normal summon 1 Blackwing and then special summon the other 2. We're going to take our 2 non-level 4s and we're going to link summon a Y-Strix. Y-Strix's effect is going to activate, and we're going to get our Zephyros from deck. Next up, we'll take our 2 level 4s, and we'll overlay into a copy of 4-Strix. This board might seem familiar. This is the exact board that you want to see in the majority of your games. You know, the chances are if you're seeing this board, you're going to be able to combo off and get, you know, at least a few interruptions on the board. So next up, we're going to activate our 4-Strix's effect. We're going to detach 1, and we're going to search out our level 4. And then on resolution, our Y-Strix is going to activate, which is going to get our rank up magic from deck. Next up, we're going to link our 2 Raid Raptors into a copy of Rusty Bardiche. From here, what I recommend doing is activating our rank up magic, which is going to get our 4-Strix from graveyard, and then we will overlay this time into a copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity. Notice, because we did not use Simoon, we are not locked into Darks from the extra deck for this turn, so we are able to go into CDI for this turn. Which now gives us a live interruption on the field, a live negate, which will be able to negate any opponent's hand traps that they've held this far. Next up, we are free to activate our Rusty Bardiche's effect, dumping our Cloak, and getting our Shade from deck. Next up, we will banish our Cloak, which will be able to get our Boots. So from here, you know, typically when we are using Simoon, we'll have a Black Whirlwind set here, which is just, you know, just a free bounce for our Zephyros to get our Zephyros back on board. But without Simoon and without hard opening Whirlwind, we don't have that luxury. So we don't really have an easy bounce here. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to sacrifice one of our interruptions by using our Shade Brigandine here. And then we will use our Zephyros Engrave to bounce the Shade back to our hand. Unfortunately here, Shade Brigandine is a hard once per turn on its summon, so we will not be able to summon it again, which means we will have to forfeit our Redoer for the turn, but that is perfectly okay. Next up, we will special summon our Boots, which gives us 2 effect monsters on the field that we can link into Verte Anaconda with. Next up, we will banish our Boots, which will get our Fogblade from deck. And finally, activate our Verte Anaconda, ditch our Fusion, ditch our 2 Vanillas, and we will end up with a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. So this is going to be your end board here. For a hand that did not open Simoon, we still end on a Dragoon with a live negate. We end on a Cyber Dragon Infinity, and we end on a Phantom Knight's Fogblade. So we end on 3 interruptions still, without seeing Simoon in the entire turn. As well as we'll have a Shade Brigandine in hand, a level 4 that we searched off of 4-Strix, and then 2 more cards from our opener. Quick note, what I recommend doing here is actually using Cyber Dragon Infinity's effect to absorb our Verte Anaconda, just to, you know, avoid any potential OTK scenarios, because, you know, Verte Anaconda is just kind of stuck there with 500 attack points, and using both the rank up magic as well as the Verte, it does kind of leave us a little bit low on life points throughout the turn. So I do recommend absorbing the Verte Anaconda. You know, and then you'll have your Shade Brigandine for the following turn in case you want to go into your Redoer. And, you know, It's just an overall solid board, for a hand that does not open up Simoon. It just goes to show how, this deck can even, continue to combo and actually put up a solid board without its absolutely busted starter. And that's going to do it for the deck profile. As you can see, the deck has taken a huge jump in the past years in terms of consistency and, overall power. It's not without its flaws, of course, but the boards it makes up are really up there with the best in the game right now. I intend to make a follow-up video with an updated list that includes some new cards from the upcoming Phantom Rage set that I'll be dropping here in a couple of weeks. That being said, thank you all so much for watching. This is my first time making a deck profile video like this on the channel, so if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just want to talk Yu-Gi-Oh!, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later, bros.